Hey everyone, welcome back with another session of history. I hope you all are doing well. So today we'll start the proceedings with a new chapter, that is the early states. That's we will learn about the Janapadas and the Mahajanapadas. Alright, so let's begin. Now, in India guys, the 6th century BCE witnessed a transition from tribal kingdoms to larger political units, which consolidated to form Janapadas and the Mahajanapadas. Now, this transition was considered a turning point in the Indian history. Iron tools proved to be stronger and long lasting. Now, with the help of these sturdy tools, forests were cleared for cultivation. Now, the use of iron tools like plowshare simplified the cultivation, and this led to the surplus production. Now, surplus production provided impetus to trade, leading to the growth of towns and cities. Alright, so it leads to the growth of towns and cities. Now, the post-Vedic period saw the growth of towns and cities with flourishing trade and commerce. Now, these led to the establishment of a more organized political setup as compared with the earlier tribes. Fine. Now, tribes, if you see guys, tribes were earlier known as Janas. As these Janas grew in size and power, so they came to be known as Janapadas, or you can call it as the foothold of a tribe. Now, the larger Janapadas were further called as Mahajanapadas. Alright, now if we see the sources, so from where we got all these informations. Now, the Buddhist and the Jain literature gave us information about the Janapadas and the Mahajanapadas. Now, before that, if we see, like Vedic literature, they have 9 Janapadas according to the Vedic literature. Now, around 600 BC, Panini, they mentions 22 Janapadas, and out of these, 3 were considered important. Which were those 3? That is Kosala, Magadha and Vatsha. So these were the 3 important Janapadas. Now, as I mentioned, the Buddhist and the Jain literature gave us information about all these Janapadas and Mahajanapadas. In fact, if you see the Buddhist text, that is Anguttara Nikaya, it gives us all the informations about the 16 Mahajanapadas. Alright, and if you see in the Jain literature, that is Bhagavati Sutta, it also gives us all the informations about 16 Mahajanapadas that came up during this period. Alright, so let's study about all these Mahajanapadas. Let's see. Now, the 16 Mahajanapadas. Now, if you see guys, during the Vedic period, now tribal units of Janas, they existed. Fine. Now, these tribal units were led by a king, or they called him as Rajan. Alright. However, by the 6th century BCE, these tribal units became large and powerful and acquired the status of Mahajanapadas. Alright. Now, gradually, North India was divided into 16 independent kingdoms, or we can call them as the Mahajanapadas. Now, together, all these 16 Mahajanapadas were known as Sodasa Mahajanapadas. And out of the 16 Mahajanapadas, as you can see, the names along with their capital has been mentioned here in this map. So, out of these 16 Mahajanapadas, Kosala, Vatsa, Avanti and Magad, all of them gained prominence and out of them, Magad was known to be the most powerful of all the 16 Mahajanapadas. Now, if you see the picture, all the list of the Mahajanapadas along with their capitals has been given here. So, if you just have a look, so first of all, we have Anga, its capital is Champa. Then we have Kashi, its capital is Varanasi. Then we have Kosala, capital Sravasti. Then we have Vajji, or we call it as Vriji also. So its capital was Vaishali. Then we have Malla, the capital Kushinagar and Pawa. Magad, the most powerful one, its capital was Rajgriha. Alright. The next we have Chedi, or we can also call it as Cheti. So it was Shuktimati. And Kuru's capital Indraprastha. Panchala, that's capital is Achitra, and Kampilya. Next we have another one, that is Surasena, its capital was Mathura. Avanti, capital Ujjain. Gandhara, capital Taxila. Kamboja, capital Rajpur. Asaka, its capital was Potali. Vatsa, capital Kosambi. And the last one was Matsya, whose capital was Viratnagar. So these are all the main important 16 Mahajanapadas along with their capitals. Fine. Now, next move on to the political life of these Mahajanapadas. Now, we already know that major changes were taking place in the approach of governing political units. Okay. Now, the 6th century witnessed a transition from all the different small tribal units to Janapadas and Mahajanapadas, which were further classified as monarchies and republics. Alright, now let's discuss about these monarchies and republics. Now, the Mahajanapadas symbolized the coexistence of two different forms of government. We call them as monarchies and republics. Now the republics, or it was known as Gana Sanghas, it were ruled by an elected chief who was the head of the Gana Sangha. Alright, and was answerable to the council that was also elected by the people of that Gana Sangha. On the other hand, if you see the republics were democratic in character. Also, alright. So, and they were also the opposite of the monarchies where kingship was hereditary. So, these are all about the republic. So, basically, if we call it, the republics were the democrats. They were democratic in character. And the republics were known as the Gana Sanghas. Alright, these are the important key points that you need to remember. And along with that, guys, on the other hand, if we see the monarchy, so the monarchy, the king was considered divine. King was considered divine and powerful and took all the decisions. Alright, now these republics and monarchies, they were constantly at war. Now, however, as the republics were not military in character and therefore they were easily conquered by the monarchies. And for example, if you see, the Lichavis being conquered by Magad is one great example of a republic being conquered by a monarchy. Alright, so these are the things. Now next up, we'll discuss about the administration of these Mahajanapadas. What were the key points about the administration of these Mahajanapadas? Now, if we see the first important one, that is the taxes. Now, the taxes were collected to run the administration efficiently. And the revenue collected from all these taxes, it was used to maintain the army, which was an integral part of the Mahajanapadas. Now, beside all this, maintaining an army, the revenue collected from taxes was also used for the construction of roads and canals. Along with all this, the Mahajanapada was ruled with the help of a number of officials, such as the first important one, that is Senapati. So who was Senapati? The chief of the army. Now next we have, that is Banda Garika, who was the treasurer. Alright, along with that, Bagdugha. Who was Bagdugha? Bagdugha was an official for collecting different taxes. And along with all this, a priest was also a part of the administration. And what was the function of this priest? The priest functioned as the chief advisor of the king or the Rajan. Alright, so this way the administration of the Mahajanapadas prevailed during that time. So today, let's be up to this much. The next day, so we will discuss about Magad and the economic structure, educational side, and the societal and the religion of all these Mahajanapadas. So until the next time with those topics, bye bye.